Hi guys, Jacob with Mortgage Coach Software Support. This video is to show you how to put in an adjustable rate mortgage. So I'm going to use a 5-1 ARM for this particular case. It doesn't matter if it's a purchase or a refinance. You're going to input them the same general format here. But let's give it a name. Call this one 5-1 ARM. And this is a refi, so I'm going to check refi. It's not an existing mortgage, so I'll leave that one unchecked. This is going to be a new mortgage. And it's not an FHA program, so I'll leave that one out there. Now let's go ahead and put in our interest rate that we can get, and that's of course just our start rate. It's going to be on a 360-month term, and here's the part that changes from your fixed loan. Instead of choosing fixed here in the loan type, choose ARM. Now nothing looks like it changes right here, but in the following screen you're going to be asked for your caps and adjustments. So when we go to the next screen, let's assume that this loan in particular was a 525 loan. That means it has a 5% first adjustment cap. It has a 2% periodic cap and a 5% life cap. Now there's a special way you want to enter the life cap here in Edge. You want to enter it as start rate plus the life cap. I'll show you that as we go down the line here. So remember, we're on a 525, so that first 5 is going to go in this first data entry box right here. Periodic or first adjustment month, this determines the first month after your fixed period. Since this is a 5-1 ARM, this is going to be month 61. Now the next one here is your periodic cap. This is the 2%. So we're going to put our 2 right there. Adjustment months. This one is asking you how often your index adjusts. So in this case, I'm going to say that we chose a 1-year LIBOR. This is going to adjust every 12 months. Now our life cap, remember this one is start rate plus life cap. So we had a 5% life cap, we have a 5% start rate. That gives us a 10% total life cap. Now the margin, usually it's going to be at about 2 1/4, but you want to refer to your rate sheet for this. And the index, you want to choose which index this is based on. Again, this is going to be on your rate sheet as well. So I'm going to choose the 1-year LIBOR. Now, if you do have a floor rate on your program, go ahead and put it in here. This is not necessary though. If you're just doing basic data entry and you don't have a floor rate, don't worry about it. It's not a required field. Now the scenario, pretty important. Let me explain the difference between each type of scenario. We default this to worst case scenario because we want you to be compliant. Now what happens on a worst case scenario is it goes to the first adjustment month, so month 61, it's going to start adjusting. Now at that first adjustment point, it's going to go to the first adjustment cap. Now, I've entered 5% as my first adjustment cap. That's going to take me all the way to the life cap. So worst case scenario says that this one can go straight to the life cap at the first adjustment point. Now, it may not always be realistic for what you want to do. So there's a couple of other options in here. There's a best case scenario. Now best case scenario assumes that at the first adjustment point, it's going to drop to just index plus margin. And this is going to be really, really low. For instance, in this case, it would come out to 2.2, about 3.04 would be index plus margin here. So when we're looking at this, we want to make sure, best case scenario, we're only going to use that for a self-adjusting HELOC that's based on prime. We don't want to use this for regular adjustable rate mortgages. Instead, you should always use either the worst case scenario or a custom scenario. Let me show you how to do the custom. Instead of choosing worst, select custom here. It's going to pop open a new screen for you. It's going to ask you to actually detail the adjustments. So let's say that month 61 here, I want to have a first adjustment. And you can see my interest rate there, 3.029. That's index plus margin. So my first adjustment, I want to give it about a 2% adjustment to bring it up around 5. And then I'm going to keep adding points here. I'm going to add a couple more just so I can put in a few adjustments. So the next adjustment point is going to be 12 months beyond this. This is going to be month 73. So let's say I want a half a point adjustment here. And it's going to go to 5.529. Now let's say at month 85, I want to forecast a negative half point. I can do that as well. That's going to bring it down to the 5.029. Now you kind of want to go in a bell-shaped curve. Just basically that's what the index values have done over the last 10 years or so. But give it a kind of a plus or minus type of scheme until you get out far enough to where you can hit the life cap without doing it right away at the first adjustment point. So in this case, I'd probably want to hit the life cap right around, I don't know, halfway through the term. So about month 181. So I would probably fill out all of these guys, keep going down the line every 12 months, give it another adjustment here and there. Let's assume that I've done all of those now. Got to month 181, and I want it to go to the life cap. Now I've got 4% left here between that 6.029 and the 10% life cap. I'm just going to put a 4 in there. It's automatically going to take it to the 10%. It will not go higher than that because I've set the life cap at 10. But now I can hit OK here, and it's got my custom scenario in there. Now, really important, after you do this one time, you don't want to have to do this every time. So when you get to the last screen of the product, so after you've done all the closing costs, after you've entered any principal reduction payments that you want to do, go to the next page, and the very last one, after you entered the taxes and insurance, save this as a template. The reason you want to do this is going to save all your adjustments, it's going to save all your basic loan parameters, but you won't have to do all this 10, 12 extra steps every single time. So this will be just a one-step move instead. But make sure and name your template with a name that's going to tell you exactly what the caps and adjustments are, because you could have 5 different ARM templates for different adjustment months, for different index values, and so forth. So for this one, 5/1 ARM, 1-year LIBOR, and 525 caps. And I did a custom schedule, so I'm going to leave it at custom there. And then I'm going to hit OK. Now it's going to tell me that template's been saved and I'm ready to roll. Now, I didn't put in the taxes and insurance here, that's why my figures are a little bit off on the right side. But let's go ahead and put those in real quick. And if there was mortgage insurance, you'd want to put that in there as well. But you can see that after we tab out of this, we're saving a little bit of extra money going with this 5/1 ARM. We've got a monthly savings of $169, so we'd probably want to go back in and reinvest this. To do so, you can go to the Adjust Reduction Payments here, and you can see exactly what you're saving on each one, and you can reinvest that difference. So up at the top here, the current is the highest price loan. You can see that our 3 options here are offering new ways to do this. I'm going to take that $170 and I'm going to put it right here in the custom adjustment field, and then hit OK. Now, what it's doing now, you can see my principal has been reflected. It should be paying a little bit more principal over time, but this is only a 5-year analysis here. So this is just doing the fixed payment on our loan. Now, if we drag this out a little further, go to about 17-year period, the other ones start catching up, and in fact, the second option I have actually takes over in this case. But that was a reappraisal. That was banking on a higher value, so don't worry about that one. But if you have any questions on how to input an ARM, or if you run into an odd scenario where you can't quite match up the numbers, feel free to send us an email over at support@mortgagecoach.com. Be happy to take a look at it for you and see what we can do to help. Thank you much, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.